Well, some of you have been getting really excited, and that's been getting me more excited. I get so excited anymore. My wife, she kind of doesn't know what to do with me at times. I got so much energy. It seems like the more God blesses me, I just get all jittery and dance around the house and don't know what to do with myself. But I've been getting these reports from you guys that life is getting better, that you're expanding your boundaries, that you're increasing your vision, that your businesses are growing. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to God. And these 10 principles that I've been teaching you, even though they're business principles, they'll apply to any area of your life. They'll apply to your marriage. They'll apply to your relationships. They will apply to your health. And so I just want to encourage you in that way, that you may not ever be planning to start a business. That may never be your desire, but receive this message in the context of whatever it is that you need this morning. Will you do that for me? These 10 principles are universal. And they are principles of success. And the more I practice them, the more I'm seeing how wise God is. Some of these things are things that I just want to smack myself upside the head sometimes and think, why didn't I see that? It's just like right in front of your face. You think these are just things that are so simple. How many of you know that just a slight adjustment makes all the difference in the world sometimes? Right? Just a slight adjustment. How many of you know that if you just off a millimeter, by the time you get several miles out, you're off. You're way off. Right? Okay? And so it's the slight adjustments that we want to make. And for those of you that haven't been here, and for the sake of filling in the notes, I'm just going to read them. Okay? So we're not going to review in detail the ones that we've already covered. The first one is just intention. That you have to choose. Nothing happens until you choose for it to happen. If you're going to be healed, you have to choose to be a healthy person. Now that may sound like it may sound funny, but it's amazing how many people have accepted the idea that they have to be sick because it's their family heritage, because their parents are sick, because their sisters and brothers are sick, because they've always been sick. Stuff doesn't change until we choose it to change. Okay? The second step is self-evaluation. We need to look at where we're at. We need to evaluate where we are. We need to evaluate where we want to be. And then we need to list both the cost and the rewards of going there. The third step is motive. We need to determine why you're making the change in your life. You need to find something in you that is so important, so valuable to you, that you will press through the pain of change. Because change is painful. You guys know it as well as I do. You have told yourself 1,000,000 times you're going to change certain things in your life, and you have not made those changes yet. Why? Because you hit the barrier of pain. And until you break through that barrier, your life is going to be the same as it's always been before. How many of you know that at that barrier of pain stands our greatest fear? And so you're not just breaking through pain, you're breaking through the fears that have controlled you your entire life. Your fears are different than my fears, but there are fears that have controlled you your entire life. And you have become so familiar with them, you might not even recognize them as being fears at all. But when certain things happen, you dance certain ways. Everybody still with me? So you need to find your why. The fourth step, you need to shift from I want to be. Say there's a lot of wannabes in the world. I want to be healthy. I want to be financially successful. I want to have a better marriage. I want to be a better person. I want to be a better man. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better wife. Want to be never did any good for anybody. Wishing, hoping, until you can come to the point where you can say, I am. And we're going back to choice, intention. I am. I am choosing that I'm going to be something before I've seen the manifestation of it in my life. I've made a decision. I am a successful man of God. I am a financially prospered person. I am a person that has no debt. I'm a person that walks in health every day. And when I start getting challenged in that area, I don't have to start thinking about whether I'm going to get sick or not. I've already made a determination I'm not. That sounds egotistical to some people, but it works. Okay, so you need to develop an I am mentality. People become what they believe they are. Okay? The fifth step, specialized knowledge. Once you've made a determination, the path that you're going to be on, you need to go out and you need to gather the knowledge. The libraries are full of free information. The internet has even more free information. And I want to suggest that you need to research to the point where you begin to get to the place where you realize the things that you need to pay for in order to get wiser. If somebody is exceedingly good at what you want to be, why would you take the time to relearn everything that they've already learned the hard way? Pay them to teach you. Buy their book, buy their CDs, buy their tapes, go to their seminars. Because it will shorten the learning curve for you. Okay? And I want to focus on the word specialized here. It's specialized knowledge. You know, it isn't going to do you any good to know a lot about everything. Determine who you want to be. And then gather the knowledge that's necessary to get there. Stop waiting for God to drop it out of the sky. It's like the farmer saying, would you please plant my field for me? Get up, decide what kind of field you want to have. If you want to have a cornfield, then by God, you better buy some corn. You better get up early, you better go out, pull the rocks out of the ground, you better pull up the tree stumps, you better get the tractor out, you better plow the ground, you better sow the seed, you better go out and drive the birds away when they try to eat the seed, you better go out and you better, weed the garden, and you need to tend to it, and eventually the natural result is, God has already created the natural system of things. The natural result is that if you will do these things, you will be blessed. Are you with me?
Amen.
It's amazing to me that people wake up and think, well, why is my life where it's at? Your life is exactly where it is because of the choices that you've made up to this point. Some people don't like that. No, please understand that I didn't say that you chose everything that happened to you. But how many of you know God knew what was going to happen to you? And what you did is you chose how to respond or react to what happened to you. But you were still where you are today because of the choices that you made. How many of you have ever heard somebody, I know you guys have never been these people. I know that nobody like this is in this room. But how many of you have ever heard anybody else blame someone for where they're at in life? It's because my parents didn't raise me right. It's because, it's because I was abused, or it's because I was neglected. It's because, my parents didn't breastfeed me, or because, or because, my big brother beat me up every day, or how many of you know tough stuff happens to everybody? Some worse than others. Some way worse than others. But the Bible promises that the people that have had the worst stuff happen to them are the ones that get the most of His grace. So in other words, what God is saying, the badder your stuff has been, if you'll let me, the more I'll work with you to turn it into good stuff. So Jesus just evened the playing field completely. And He boiled it all down to a matter of personal responsibility. It's our responsibility what we do with the stuff that we're handed. And if we begin to do the right things with the stuff we're handed, eventually we'll start to get better stuff. Are you with me?
Amen.
All right. The sixth step, and this is where we stopped last week, is plan with the end in mind. Plan with the end in mind. And I just want to throw in a couple new thoughts on this point this week. Plan with the end in mind. You know, it's like so often people just kind of randomly live their life. We wake up today, we see what's going to happen. We see who's going to call. We see who's going to write us on Facebook. And then we spend our day reacting to whatever other people do. Now, I want everybody to say this with me, because this is going to sound corny, but this is one of the most profound statements I've ever come up with, okay? It's good stuff. Everybody say it with me. If I don't know what I want in life, I will end up getting what someone else wants. That is so profound. If you don't know where you're going in life, you will end up having a life that is a series of reactions to what other people wanted from you. And you'll get to the end of your life and you realize, I didn't control it at all. I just did this because she told me to. I did this because he told me to. I did that because, no, he didn't really even tell me to. I just thought he expected it of me. When we get to the end of our lives, we find out we were never even in control of our lives.
Stand for nothing and fall for anything.
There you go. So, first of all, you're the one that has to determine who... Let me put it this way. Within the boundaries of who God has made you, you need to determine who you're going to be. Now, if you're 4 feet tall, you're probably not going to be a professional basketball player. You never know. But within the boundaries of how God designed you, and that includes your gifts, your talents, your physical attributes, it includes your culture, your gender, it includes your life experiences. You have been given a whole bunch of things to work with. Within those boundaries, God gives you free will. Okay? How many of you know that life works as a principle of exercise? Let's go back to the law of sowing and reaping. That whatsoever a man sows, that will he also reap. Now, if I plant one piece of corn, do I get one piece of corn back? Come on, church. It always comes back in multiples, right? It's a principle of exercise. If I use a little, I get more. It's just like lifting weights. If I use a little bit of my muscle, God will give me more muscle. If I extend my energies in a certain direction, I will begin to multiply what I have in that area. While people are waiting around for God to do stuff for them, He's saying, exercise what I've given you. Go out and put it to work. Stretch yourself. Break through your comfort zones. Break through your fears. Break through your barriers. Every time you plant yourself in a new area of life, you will expand what you have to work with.
Amen.
This stuff isn't really that mysterious, is it? Sometimes I just think Christians need to be locked up on the goofy farm. This stuff is, the world's got this stuff figured out. It's not rocket science. So what you need to do is you need to determine where you want to end up in life.